Ooh, we are going to be talking about our net worth today. I have had so many questions about what our net worth looks like as compared to all the other things we have going on. So I finally slowed down to see what that all looks like, and it's been a couple of years and it was quite surprising. So stick around to find out all the details. Hi friends, and welcome to the Budget Bounce. If we haven't met yet, I'm Jen, and we talk all about living life on a budget, saving for our future, and paying down debt on this channel. If those are things that interest you, then you are going to want to hit that subscribe button down below and tap the bell so you don't miss any videos that I post in the future. So today we're talking about our net worth, and I have another spreadsheet. I can't wait to share it with you. I actually created it 3 years ago and I made some improvements to it. It's much more aesthetically pleasing than it was before. I want to talk a little bit about what the definition of net worth is, how we calculate it before we jump into the spreadsheet. So net worth is the total of all of your assets, like a car, your home, any retirement savings that you have, things like that, minus all of your liabilities. Liabilities would be any debt that you owe, things like that. That could include mortgages, credit cards, student loans, any of that kind of stuff. So assets minus liabilities equals your net worth. And there are some varying opinions about what to include in assets and liabilities. I'll just show you what it is that we do, and then you can take that as you will and do with it what you want in terms of how you're gonna calculate your own net worth. So with no further ado, let's head to the spreadsheet. And here we are looking at my spreadsheet. And so I want to share a little bit about this with you before I jump in. So I just did a generic title slide here, but I wanted to show you the tabs that are at the bottom, and it doesn't all fit on the screen. So I have down here, I have a 2019 tab, 2020, 2021, and then our current 2022 that we are building right now. And then I have an annual net worth tab, and I have an all years chart where I put all the months and all the years in one single chart. So let's jump in and take a look. I'm just going to do a really quick run through for 2019, 2020. So let's have a look and see what this is going to look like. So I'm going to move this up a little bit. We'll move on to 2019. So all of these will look the same. I have a chart at the top that shows the assets. So I include our cash reserves, mass pension, my 401k, our house, our car. Actually, we have 2 cars. At this time, we had 3 cars. So I include all of those in the assets. And then for liabilities, I include our mortgage balance and our debt balance. So those are separate, and I track them each month. You can see the months going down the side here. And then I do a final chart that has the assets, liabilities, and then calculates the net worth. And I also like to just see what is the difference from one month to the next in this column. And then this is like a cumulative column where I'm looking to see what kind of difference do we have over the course of the year. We'll just focus on the bottom here. So all of this gets converted into a chart, and that's what you're seeing here. So we have our assets in green, our liabilities in gray, and our net worth in the Budget Bounce purple. Now I am seeing that there's issues with how these numbers are showing up. I'm not sure why we're having that issue. All right, I just did a refresh and that worked. So I'm gonna move this over just a little bit so that my picture is not all on top of that. Okay. So here you can see the change in our assets over the course of the year. You know, they kind of went up and down, but we landed a little lower than where we started. Then throughout the year, you can see that our apparently I have a trend line on the liabilities. You can see that we have our liabilities going down a little bit. So we started at minus 325 and we ended at minus 295, 716. So that's great. And then here you have the net worth. So this is that calculation up here. Okay, that's all of those in the purple. So you can see it's changing throughout the year, and we landed about 28 or 9,000 with 28 or 9,000 more in our net worth than we started with, which really seems weird to say when you have a negative. But our negative at the end of 2019, our net worth was negative 106,623. And I put a trend line in so you can see it's just gradually moving up with the net worth. So that's where we are for 2019. Moving on to 2020, again, very boring. You can look here, you can see our cash reserves change throughout the year in 2020. So they went down significantly at the end of the year. We made 2020 the year of saving. We were going to try and save as much money as we could. We increased our my 401k. We started saving more and building our emergency fund and all that stuff. And then COVID hit, just like it did everybody else, but it hit my family starting in August. And well, actually, it really started in July because Matt ended up having to take time off. He ended up on a leave of absence because he wasn't doing well with everything. And he started that in July, and then my parents got sick in August and I had to go care for them. I'm an only child and my mom was too sick to take care of them. They didn't feel like they were sick enough to go to the hospital at that point, and they didn't even know if they had COVID until after I got there. So now I'm caring for two people. So guess what? Jen got COVID. And that was to be expected. We knew it, but I did not do well with it. I actually ended up being hospitalized. And so I ended up missing several weeks of work at the same time that Matt was off. He was off for 3 months. So both of us were off without any income. The good news is our emergency fund and sinking funds and things like that saved us. It's what helped us get through until the disability payments could come in. But you can see it took a hit. We ended up having to use about $5,000. So let's see what that looks like down here. You can see here, we are working our way up here with our assets, and then it starts falling down here. And then here's our liabilities. Those went up throughout the year. We started at minus 269. We ended at minus 294. And then that means that our net worth went down. So it started out at minus 64,000 in 2020, and we landed at minus 86,000. This is not good. The trend line shows, really tells the tale here, in that we just were not doing well, and there's a lot of fluctuation throughout the year. In 2021, let's take a minute. I mentioned that we have our cash reserves. We have Matt's pension. You can see that these dollar amounts are growing over the previous year. If we go back and look at those, Matt started with under 3,000, but in 2021, he started with more than 5,000. And you can see we made some strides with my 401k. I think it started in the 20s. Yeah, 23,700. And I started at 37,000 the next year. So there was some growth in the market. That was not all my contributions, but still it was growing. And then we had to add a column in 2021 for our new house, our primary residence. Now, this is the this is the value for that asset. And then this is our other house, and it is the one that we're renting out. And you can see throughout the year how much the value went up, especially on the other house. Holy cow. It's so high. The Zestimate on Zillow is so high that I actually made a note that I only used 90% of the Zestimate. It's just totally exploded. And then of course we have our two cars. We got rid of one of them. So we're down to 2 cars. So let's go down here and take a look again now at the chart. Things are looking better here. So one of the things you'll notice is that the number for assets is a lot higher and the total for liabilities is a lot higher, if you will. It's just more negative. And so that was a result of purchasing a home that has a much higher value and also a much higher mortgage. So we have all of our liabilities here. You can see they're changing throughout the year. And then we have our net worth. And so these lines aren't very long, these negatives, but we started at minus 68,806. And look at this, you guys. We ended up positive at the end of 2021. I was so shocked. I did not expect to see that. We ended up with a positive net worth at 5,892. And that is driven by the housing market for sure. Yes, we have increased some things like our cash reserves got back up to 9,200 again. And our, Matt's pension and my 401k are up, but it's these two columns right here that really did a lot of that. So that is 2021. Now let's look at where we are for 2022. So I have everything done through April. And you can see here we are building our cash reserves. We have Matt's pension continues to go up. My 401k is taking a hit right now with the market and everything. So it's down significantly from where it was the beginning of the year, but that's okay. Everything's on sale. I'll take it. I'll buy stuff, for lower prices right now. We're not planning on hitting this up for anything anyway. We don't need it until we retire. And then this is the value of our primary residence. And this is the value of our other house that we're renting. Again, I used 90% of the Zestimate because this was actually $170,000 or something like that. And I just don't feel like that house is worth $170,000. So I just adjusted it a little bit. And the value of the Traverse continues to go down a little bit, but we owe way less than it's worth right now. So that's good. For a long time, we were flipped on it. So let's go down here. I've updated the both the mortgage balances and the debt balance that we have. And that brings our totals here. Again, you can see they're a lot higher than they were in 2020. But our net worth is going up. So let's see what that looks like in the picture. And again, I'm going to move this over a little bit. There we go. So this is what it's looking like. We're positive 8,745 in January. It's moving up throughout the year. And here we are, it's April, the end of April going into May, and we are positive $24,543, which is super exciting. So let's talk about what it looks like if we do the annual net worth. So this is the same chart you're seeing here, but this has 2019, 2020, and 2021 on it. Same layout. Here are our assets and liabilities each year, so you can see them. Here's our net worth each year at the end. So I did it as of the end of the year. And then here's what the chart looks like. So you can see our assets went up in 2021. You can also see that our liabilities went up in 2021. But overall, we landed at positive $5,892. So the trend line, when it's like this, looks a lot better. I like it when it's sloping upwards. And then here's the all years chart. This was just for giggles. I wanted to see what it looked like if you had every single month. And it's so big, I can't even get it all. Let's see if I can. I will make this smaller. I know it's hard to see, but it goes off to the right here. There, I had to go down to 80% to get it to show up. And I know that that's hard to see, but these are all of our assets, and you can see month by month how they, where they jumped, where they've gone up and down. You can see here are all of our liabilities. They were going down and then they jumped, and they took a big jump when we took that other mortgage. So here we are in April of 2022. And then this is the trend line for our net worth. Again, it's sloping upward. That's great. It started out, fairly negative over here, and we ended up positive. So this is only through the end of 2021. It does not reflect what's going on in 2022. So here we are looking at our annual net worth chart again. So you can see that we are, overall, we are making progress. It doesn't feel like it since our debt has gone up so much. I realize our assets have too, but it's really, really hard. And actually in May, our net worth is probably going to go down. I don't know if we'll remain positive at the end of May or not, but it's definitely going to go down because we have a new debt to add that's not included when we do, I'm sorry, I'm talking about 2022. When we update May, I think this chart is going to show this is going to come down. I wouldn't be surprised if we're around 10,000 positive at that point. So yeah, that's our net worth. I'm really, really glad that I ended up doing this exercise. It was really good for me. It really helped some of the stress that I have been having about where we are. We have new debts over the last 18 months that I never dreamed in a million years that we would have, and much of it driven by emotion. When all that stuff happened in 2020 with us and our family, and my parents were so sick, my dad was in the hospital, I was in the hospital, I just got the whole life is too short, and I made very emotional decisions, and I don't recommend it for anybody. It's not a good way to manage your finances. So you don't have to get all fancy with this. You can literally just write it down like this for yourself. You can just have, what are my total assets? What are my total liabilities? You subtract your liabilities from your assets, and that tells you your net worth. If your liabilities are more than your assets, then you're going to have a negative net worth. If your liabilities are less than your assets, you're going to have a positive net worth. And net worth is a very telling number. It's a good gauge of how you're doing overall, as opposed to just focusing on one thing. Because you can be great at paying down debt, but not be doing what you need to save for the future. There are other people who are great at saving for the future, but they aren't worried about paying down the debt. That's where we are. We are trying to do more saving for the future and not as focused on our debts. It's a balancing act. You have to determine what is important to you. So I hope you found this informative and interesting. That is all I have for you guys today. I will see you next time.